What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be going over a pretty insane rumor about Palantir that has been circulating over this weekend, that Alexander Karp and Stephen Cohen are going to be buying upwards of $180 million worth of Palantir shares within the next 30 days. So we're going to go over that rumor in detail and determine if it is even possible that that is going to happen or not. So if you want to see all of that information, make sure you stick around to the end of this video. But before we get into all of that information, if you guys enjoy what I have for you in this one, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. It really helps me get this information out to as many people as possible, and you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks and learn about a couple of new ones. So if we go over and take a look at the chart of Palantir, we can see that it has had an unbelievable run up since its IPO. It topped out at around $33.50 and has been kind of bouncing around since it hit its high. At the end of the year, it had a pretty substantial sell-off. Now, I was calling to basically buy the dip around this point, and that's where I bought my $30 strike calls for February 19th, and the stock ended up curling back up, started to go on another bullish run, but it was cut short by a Citi downgrade, but then rocketed back up on the news that ARK Invest bought around 500,000 shares, which was very good news. So if we go over and take a look at the specific rumor, we can see this is a post from Wall Street Bets. So you have to do a little bit more DD on these posts because you never know if they are legitimate. So basically what this post says is that Alexander Karp and Stephen Cohen both made HSR filings. So basically what HSR filings are, if we take a look over here, when is the notification required of an HSR filing? So basically the value of the securities or assets of the other party held by the acquirer after the transaction is 68.2 million or more. As of 2012, amount adjusts periodically, and in 2018 the rules raised this amount to 84.4 million, and as this post says that it's 94 million in 2020. Now if we go over and take a look, HSR filings are not public, so we do not actually know if they actually filed an HSR filing. But what we do know is that they filed for these requests for early termination. So we can see right here that Alex Karp had a early termination notice, as you can see right here, and this status was granted. We can go over here and also see that Stephen Cohen also had an early termination notice, and this status was granted. So that does lead me to believe that it is possible that they are looking to load up on Palantir shares before very two important events. So the two events are going to be Demo Day on January 26th, which is going to be a product showcase of their Foundry, Titan, and Apollo platforms, and we're going to see real-life examples of their commercial and government work, which is something we really haven't seen so far. Palantir has gotten a lot of different government contracts over the past year, mainly to handle the pandemic, and we're going to get to see firsthand how successful Palantir actually has been at helping out the different governments. Now, this individual states that early termination requests are made to bypass the customary 30-day waiting period when someone files an HSR filing. So basically what would happen is that if they filed this HSR filing, they would have to wait 30 days in order to make their purchases. Now, when they got these statuses granted for their early termination notice, they could make these purchases anywhere, anytime right now. They could just buy the shares. I think we're going to see it happen kind of periodically up until Demo Day and up until earnings. They might wait until the share lockup period because they might want to kind of stifle the volatility that might happen once a lot of the insiders are able to sell their shares. But if we come down here, we can see that HSR filings are required when someone is making an acquisition of over $94 million. This is for 2020. Now, the Wikipedia article said it was about $80 million, and that was in 2018, but it does change. So this is also what we saw when Mithril bought a bunch of shares back in December. So we can also see their filing. This was on December 23rd, and their status was also granted when they made their massive purchase. So it is possible that all of these executives of Palantir, especially Alex Karp and Stephen Cohen, are going to be making some pretty substantial purchases in Palantir in the near future. If you guys want to comment down below your thoughts, I'd love to have a conversation with you about this because this is pretty interesting. If they bought about 180 or plus million dollars worth of this company, it's going to send the share price going way higher. In addition to some of the high-level executives, the CEO of Palantir and some of their investors making massive share purchases of Palantir possibly in the near future, we also have ARK Invest starting to really ramp up their position in this company. Now, if we go over here, we can see that ARK made their biggest purchase of the week on January 14th, and this had a very drastic effect on the share price. It was up about 6% after hours once it was announced that they bought around 500,000 shares, and that was about $12.5 million worth of shares, and they've been buying this company every single day for about the past trading week. So that's also very interesting to see. But this website is Lucid Tracking. I'm not affiliated with this website in any form. It's just a good way to judge what and see what ARK is actually buying. But if we look over to this website over here, this is Kathy's ARK. This is how to track the ARK's buying behavior over a longer period of time. So we can see that they started their Palantir position with about 20,000 shares, massively ramped it up to about 1 million shares in November, and then have just been slowly buying more and more on all of the dips all the way through up until they bought their 500,000 share position this week. So now they own about 1.935 million shares, which is a very substantial position in this company. Now, Palantir had a little bit of a sell-off throughout the end of the week, but still went up about 2.89% on Friday. Now, I think that Palantir is going to go up a lot in the near future. That's why I have 2 of these February 19th 30 strike calls. There is about $7.5 million betting on this specific contract. We can tell that because we can look at the open interest of about 38,600, and you multiply that by the last price of the contract. So the open interest essentially means that there's 38,600 of these contracts being held in people's brokerage accounts at the current time, and the volume on this contract is actually pretty insane. Almost 21,000 of these contracts were bought and sold on Friday. Now, that is a very high volume to be traded on one specific strike option in a given day. If we go down a little bit more, we can see that the $35 strike also has a very high open interest of about 45,000, and it had a pretty substantial volume traded on Friday of about 7,000. If we take a look at the put contracts, nothing really stands out like this. We can see that the open interest, the highest one is about the 19, and that has a 21,000 open interest, but the volume really just is not there on a day-to-day basis. So usually what I do looking at these option chains is I look for the open interest and see where the most interest and money is being put into, and that's usually where I go as well. Sometimes I'll go a little bit further out of the money, but I think Palantir has a very good chance of breaking 30 by demo day and especially by earnings. I think they're going to have a lot of bullish buying pressure, especially if Alex Karp and Steve Cohen both buy $180 million worth total of Palantir shares. I think it's going to go at least to 33 by earnings, so I'm going to hold these $30 strikes up until earnings date, most likely. I probably won't sell before then unless they go up a ridiculous amount. But it's pretty interesting to see that these two individuals are planning on buying so much Palantir in the near future. It's going to be very interesting to see if they actually go and do that, and we're really going to be able to see how much they are buying by looking at the daily volume of Palantir. So if this share price goes all the way up into the $28, maybe $29 range this week, it'll be pretty safe to assume that Alex Karp and Cohen are both scaling into their positions more. So that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this one, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and comment down below your thoughts if you think they're going to be buying this many shares in the near future. I'll see you guys in the next video.